This is Mooncat Franco here for Lucha por Lucha. I'm on this podcast. It's been long awaiting. I'm excited. I hope everybody's going to be excited to hear about Mooncat Franco. Mooncat is everything. This podcast is everything you're going to want and more.
There we go. Where's the applause? I'm going to remember now. Fool me once, shame on me.
You've
Fool
done
me
it
twice.
I don't think there's been an episode where we hit
Something
the
like
right
that.
button.
Is there a fart button?
No.
They're probably, we
Not
could
yet.
probably
We
make it
can
happen.
set it.
I know a guy. So there you have it. We have Mooncat Franco on the podcast today. And like he said, a long time coming. Mooncat, I've known you for quite a while. How long have we known each other for?
I would say 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
4 years. I met Mooncat before he was Mooncat,
Yes.
and he came into Wrestling Revolution as a trainee, where he spent some time both training and working security. Did you ever have one of those practice matches that we ended up doing as the fans were coming into the venue?
Yes.
See? Okay. So
those little 5-minute matches.
Yeah, little 5-minute matches. Yeah, which were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're here on the show because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your experiences. Talk to us, man. Like, how did you come into this wacky world of wrestling?
So what I've considered strongly about this podcast is for people close to me, anything I say is not going to be anything new. But for a lot of people, if it's of any interest that aren't so familiar with me, knowing how shy and quiet I am, fans, whatever following I have, could get to know me a bit more. I figure myself a private person, but I try to be as transparent as I can. So getting into this world, I really hope people could see that genuine, it's me as a person as much as a performer.
You know, when I first met you, you touched on it right now. You mentioned how people see you as a shy person, and yeah, when I met you, you were that shy kid. Like, you weren't speaking much. You were listening to instructions when we were at training, but you weren't making a lot of conversation. Now, have you always been shy?
I think I was I don't know what the term is, but nonverbal as a kid. So growing up, it was just typical of me to not really say anything. So I think a lot of it's taken as maybe I'm a bit standoffish or just kind of reserved. I think I've always lived my life kind of being on the quieter side.
Okay. Were you always quiet, maybe at home también, around your parents, around your family? Were you quiet also?
Yeah, it was one of those things, I can't remember so much, but it was I would say one word a day almost. It was that one moment in the 24 hours where it's I say one thing and that's it.
Wow. And when did you get interested in wrestling? What happened in your life that drew you to wrestling?
A lot of people could say they grew up with it. I think as a kid you kind of see the kind of impact it has and how much, especially culturally, it's around you. So I think I've always been enamored with always seeing it. Growing up, it was you see the mask and you see a lot of it, even locally as a kid. I would go to the flea markets and I would see wrestling here, and it was always just that close to home for us that it's very cultural in a way.
Yeah. Would you go by yourself to these matches, or was there a relative with you, a friend?
Yeah, so it was my cousin's dad. I think the whole thing, getting us to go to the flea market and be happy about it was I think they told us it was oh yeah, Fabian's dad, he knows Rey Mysterio, and that was getting us to go. And we believe this random it was funny 5'9" person was Rey Mysterio.
And Mooncat didn't come empty-handed. Thank you. He brought some Shinerbach.
Yes.
So I'd like to, make a little clank ski right here. You heard it here, folks. The clank ski world renowned. Okay, so Mooncat, talk to us, man. So like, growing up, you were going to these luchas with your cousin's dad, Fabian, who knew Rey Mysterio. And but by then, did you know the difference between lucha and WWE stuff, like American wrestling and all that? Like would you see both on TV?
Actually, so what I always appreciate my parents for is like growing up, it was like the only thing that would really like spoil me with was being able to go to these like shows whenever WWE did their house shows. So I would see it from a local level, and of course like on TV you will see like Lucha Libre, and then you'll see like the American wrestling. So there was always like more to it than like, oh, it's just like what you see on regular like WWE programming. So yeah.
And what about in high school, man? Like, were you talking to people about wrestling? Did you let people know that you liked it?
Actually, it was one of those things where my friends knew, and I think like growing up, it was always like the one thing I talked about.
Yeah.
So with everything like
the few words that you did utter were wrestling related?
Yeah, everything was like about wrestling to me. And it was something a few of my old friends and I would like talk about when we were like teenagers, and it was like being stupid. We would pretend to be rock stars and like trash hotel rooms, but we'd do it just by like wrestling each other. So we would like record, and it would just be us being as like horrible as it could be,
like Jackass.
Yeah. And when I started doing professional wrestling, that was the first thing they reminded me of, was like, this was just like pretend at one point for you, and now you're actually doing it. So it's always kind of kept me like aware of like what I'm here for, you know?
At what point did you decide that this was something you wanted to try?
It was when I was 16. I remember like going to the Comic Cons, and I would see it, and then like I would be downtown at 16. No one asked me why, but I was like seeing bands perform, and I saw what they had at Cine as I was walking around. I couldn't drink, and I was like, just like, why is there so many drunk people? And then I was just walking around alone also.
A 16-year-old downtown McAllen.
Yeah, and I'm in front of Cine. I see they had like a thing that said like live wrestling. So that like my mom would take my friends to go like see. I already was like interested, but I was like, I wouldn't be emotionally ready and mature for it, so I waited till I was 18.
Okay.
But I guess like the opportunity was there.
Yeah.
I love that you knew. You're like, not right now.
Yeah.
I want to fuck around and then do it.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? It was like a conscious decision?
Yes, because my friends were like, let's do it right now. Like, because some of them were a bit more rowdy than I was. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it and just look like a dumbass.
But even through the training, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a bit, like, he trained for a good long while, and he did that. The way I saw it was like he was waiting till he was ready. The only other person that I've seen do something like that is Galvan.
Yeah.
For someone to come in and be self-aware enough to know not to like just jump into it when they're not good to go yet. You know, you said that you saw downtown that it said live wrestling.
Yes.
At any point, did you ever think it said live wrestling?
Yeah.
And you said, I'm doing that already.
Yeah. No, like the little like small billboards were so horrible looking. And like the graphics were just like horrendous. But I was like, I mean,
that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm. You go to this grimy old place, an old theater built in the 1940s, and you're there to see some lucha libre. Beautiful.
Part of the allure.
Yeah. So then, okay, so you see this going on at downtown McAllen. Is that where you signed up to train, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so I think as soon as I turned 18, I remember like the whole thing was like I could pay for this, right? Because I thought it was going to be a lot more money.
It's because you read the horror stories in
Yeah.
books and stuff. Like they charge thousands upon
Yeah.
thousands, and then sometimes they just snatch the money and leave.
Yeah. And I remember the whole thing was like, I was like, I got this because there's like this, it wasn't even a bad car accident, but my mom suckered someone for money. So they told like me and my cousin that once we turn 18, we'll get like $1,000. And I was like, I could pay for this. And then like my whole dream happens. Didn't spend like not even close to like any of that money on wrestling training. It was all on gear.
That's one thing that I'm proud to see on you, and I say proud because I've seen you grow in the business, is that you've always had gear, whether it's the boots, the trunks,
Yeah.
whatever the case, like you're always ready.
Can we talk about the gear?
Yes.
Yes, please.
You always have a fit on.
Yeah.
It's always an outfit.
Wano, who gave me like, I guess that sort of advice, because everybody else was kind of, you know, just the basics. You know, what they were teaching me was like the foundation of how to wrestle. No one told me a lot about character. I think they're just like, we'll worry about that later with the most like non-talkative, shy person. And I was like, I really want to work on character now, but I think it was JC who told me like, invest. That was the best advice, was invest in yourself and what you want. So I wanted this image of like, I guess not being lazy, in my opinion, of like, I'm going to have to spend so much money to always have something interesting for people to look at. And I can't tell you how much money I've spent on like just different colors and different ideas that I had. So it's very like expressive of me.
Yeah. Money well spent, because you always look great.
Yeah.
I always love your gear, your outfits.
I
Yeah.
think it was Ace who came on and put him over about that. That you always look. I mean, did you hear that?
I didn't get to hear that.
No?
Yeah, no, yeah, Ace put you over for looking the part.
Honestly, I didn't even think he knew me.
Yeah,
no,
he was-
name dropped you.
Yeah,
Okay.
he said, "What's that kid's name?" So we started like, he's like New Breed. He's with Chan. So like Mooncat. He's like, yes, Mooncat Franco.
He's
Yeah.
like, he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most muscular, but he looks like someone. Like he catches your attention.
You look like you invest in yourself.
Yeah.
He compares you to Dusty at one point. Like he says, like he's not the guy you would think is a pro
Yeah.
wrestler, but you see his outfit and you're like, yeah, I want to see that guy wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
The common man.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
And to JC's credit, like when I first got into wrestling, JC was the first guy that I saw with immaculate gear, and it'll be
An
his story.
immaculate body.
Dude, he was working for it, man. And you know, it'll be his story to tell when he's on the show. But yeah, he'll talk about how much he invested into his gear, not just financially, but a lot of thought went into everything
Yeah.
that he was getting done up until the very end. And he's always been very generous with his opinion on gear and styles, and has even like passed down some gears to
Yes.
individuals también.
If you know like not like tie-dye, but the black polka dot like rainbow ones.
Our favorite.
I was
Yeah.
gonna mention.
JC gave me those.
There was another one. It was an animal print number. you
Oh,
were
the
wearing.
cheetah print Leah,
Was
the
it
One Piece.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That one, I actually wasn't going to do more than once, but I just thought it looked really cool, so I did
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, I read in one of Mick Foley's books, I think it was Countdown to Lockdown, where he had jumped from WWE to TNA, and he said that he went old school when it came to his gear when he was there, because he was going to be performing as Cactus Jack, more like Cactus Jack than any other character that he's portrayed. And he said he went to either a TJ Maxx or Ross, went into the women's section, and found some cheetah print tights, like
Yeah.
yoga pants. And that's what he wore for his pay-per-view comeback
Yeah.
match. And honestly, like, that's not a bad idea. I've seen some of those tights, and I'm like, damn, like, that would be good for wrestling.
Yeah.
I did call. I called Blackheart once, and I can't remember what store I was at. And there was some that looked like leather, and I told Blackheart, "Listen, dude, like it doesn't matter that these are women's pants. Like this is a quick fix for like a quick indie show that you don't want to use your good gear. Come down here and get this part of this sale, man.
Get a piece of this.
Get a piece of
Out of
this."
this sales rack.
They're like, "Sir, you don't work here."
I know. I'm putting
He's
them
on
over.
the intercom, just telling everyone.
Attention, wrestlers, all over the valley. So then, who did you talk to get started with training?
When I was like 16, I remember like talking to Juicy, and I don't know if he remembers Danny Ramone's. Trying not to sound as stupid as 16-year-olds could sound. It was trying to be like serious and be like, who could we talk to? And then he directed us to Shooter Roberts or Jim Justice. I know when I turned 18, Jim Justice was the one I talked to. And it was like, I didn't realize how easy it was going to be. Because I was like, I don't even think they'll like accept me, you know? And then he was like, "Can you train tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh, like, yeah, of course." And it took like a day for me to start training.
Was he charging?
He was.
That's why he was so quick on to get on it. Yeah, no, because the trainings wouldn't happen very often with WR, but there was a new batch of kids coming in. You were part of that group. Because when you were training, there was like a good handful of people that are currently still out there wrestling and performing. And what did you think of your first day?
It was very like easy in the sense of like nothing was complicated. It was just the basics. So nothing was really like, you know, bizarre. It was just like, this is how things are taught structurally. So I think it was like really cool. I think I was just like very nervous and I didn't talk, so it was like all the movement was there, right? Just taking bumps and like I guess like whipping someone. It was like that's very easy to do, but they're like, you just don't talk. So they're like, you're gonna have to make sound and we're gonna have to work on you being like, I guess, a bit more outgoing.
How was that process of having to become
I think
that
it
person?
was very much like a long process, because I would say becoming Mooncat as a character, that's what really like pushed it. But I think before then, and Mooncat came about like 2020, 21, I spent from like 2018, 2019 just being like kind of lost and just I was performing.
You were finding yourself.
Yeah, but no one really knew what my character was or what I was really trying to like be, and it was one of those things that I would say like when you're like a new kid at a new school, you just think like what's cool is being like everything else. So everything else I like saw was like, well, I'm quiet, I don't know if people like it, but people like, I guess, these certain things. Until I like started becoming myself, it was more like people could respect that and not just see like someone that's, I guess, doing the, I guess, basic stuff, you know.
I saw you coming out of your show when you started training with New Breed, and I don't know if that was maybe the brotherhood that you were building amongst your peers and whatnot, but you had gone through different variations of trainings, because you would train at Cine El Rey, you trained over at Naval's in Edinburgh, and then New Breed. Was there anywhere else that you trained?
I trained at the flea markets at Ochoa's.
The one in Mission?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That one gets hot.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
In what way?
That's
Please
the one
elaborate.
Is that the one that Principe was talking about?
Yeah.
Right? That he says it actually gets like hot.
There's a bucket
temperature-wise.
there.
Oh, that's right.
The one with the bucket.
Yeah.
That's all we gotta
Remember,
say.
Mel?
It's like, we know.
Was it hard for you to approach Danny Ramones about the training, like? Because you're such a shy guy, was that hard for you?
No, I had my friend do it. He was like talkative one.
And did they go to training?
Actually, no. So it was like one of those things where it was like, it was more my thing. Because that, like, for them, like, being fans, it was just like, there's still that, like, actual, like, thing we have to deal with is that like we don't know if it's like an actual thing we could do. But I was like sure of it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do it whether anyone else does it.
That's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
especially as a shy kid.
Yeah. At any point, do you get inspiration for whether it's your look, your style, or your move set in regards from other wrestlers, and if so, who?
I think with having like this hippie character, a lot of people would think there's like this dude love influence, and I love Mick Foley, but I think there's like no influence from wrestling as far as like my character. So a lot of my influence was like musicians and like rock artists. So the wrestling all comes from like, I guess, the kind of style that I want to portray, which is like, I guess, more old schoolish. Because I just feel like it's more interesting. I watch a lot of like Japanese wrestling and 80s wrestling because like through JC, through Danny Ramones, a lot of what you guys recommend is a lot of good like film. So watching that and actually being a fan of it, 'cause some people could think like, oh, like wrestling back then was so boring. I find it interesting, so that's kind of style I want to have. But the whole like cadence of my act as a performer is like, I want people to think they're seeing like a musician, because I'm people don't figure me to be a wrestler. One thing I always get is that I look like a musician and I don't play anything. So
Take a picture next to an instrument, and I'm sure it'll go viral around here. Like, oh, new musician in town. No, you give off those vibes, man. Like, pero it's funny because for as shy as you are, your character that you portray is still very much you.
yes,
You're the same person, and it's exactly how they always say, with the volume turned up.
yeah.
Yeah, because we see you outside of the ring, and it's like, yeah, that outfit matches what we saw you wearing
Yeah.
in the ring. So it's like, of course, like there's like a consistency to it.
I'll never be surprised if I ever see Mooncat just hanging out in the crowd. His music hits. He from the crowd goes into the ring, has a match, and from the ring goes back to hanging out. Never goes to the dressing room in whatever he's wearing, and that's Mooncat Franco.
I kind of do that already. You won't really ever see me in the back. So I'm always out front because I'm like, and it's going to sound bad, like I try to be as nice as I can, but it's also like, I don't care about who's in the back. Like, I'm going to be out there. It's an experience for me as much as anyone else. So at most shows, you'll see me like never in the back unless I need to be.
Pues también it's for the people.
Yeah.
You know, the audience that pays a ticket to see the wrestlers, and then to be able to hang out with the wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's what makes independent wrestling different than whether it's an AEW or a WWE, is that interaction and that camaraderie that the fans can build with the fans.
Do you feel like you being in your gear while you're socializing has anything to do with it? Do you feel like it helps you kind of stay in that persona?
I think there's this like kind of mode you get into, because I'll tell people like outside of what we do outside of shows, which y'all could see, which a lot of people close to me see, is I'm very sedated as a person just naturally, and I'm very kind of like sensory overload, so I like see everything and everything's kind of like just very loud, but I'm so sedated as a person, you kind of just like don't know like what I'm thinking. And then on show days, it's like I have to build my social battery up for that, to be able to have these conversations with people and not feel like overwhelmed. So there's like a lot of work that goes into like going like, I'm gonna be not just myself, but I have to be like the best version of myself.
Do you feel like it's a way of challenging yourself? Like, but you're up for it, right? Like, it makes you
Yes.
happy.
It makes me have a life that I never thought I'd have, because it was very disabling growing up, not being able to like speak and not being able to communicate. and wrestling helped a lot with that, where it's like I'm not just like scared of ever having a conversation with people. It's like now I could have these conversations and people aren't like, what's this freak not saying anything for? But like for someone that's like just I guess experiencing me now, like you didn't get to see like how it was when I first started. Was there this idea that like I wasn't shy at all?
Not that you weren't shy, just that you were super chill, or that you are super chill. And then I saw you outside of the ring, and I was like, oh, he's shy. It came as a shocker to me, I guess, seeing you outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Even
But
not
I was-
speaking in the ring, you're still a loud character because of what
Yeah.
you're wearing.
Yes.
So yeah, I can see how you didn't see him as shy until he's outside because
I
it's
mean,
like,
the outfits
it's
aren't
toned
shy.
down and you're nonverbal, so it's like, it's kind of it makes sense.
No, and even back then, I mean, he didn't start off with the flashy outfits, but he did have the hair. The hair
It
was
was the
always
hair.
the one thing that people would notice, and I think that's part of what separated you from a lot of the beginners at that time, is there was your look. You just looked different. Did you always want the poofy hair back then, like the big hair?
No,
Poofy.
that was just given to me.
All natural.
I've always had the long hair, and I didn't think it was gonna be like a big deal, But I mean, my high school nickname was Curls, so to me it's so normal. Like it's just curly hair, but I guess like people always just saw that. I got told once I look like Chris Pettis.
What a
I
compliment.
Can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
No, it was a compliment because like once people started telling me that, how am I not gonna be a chick magnet now? Like,
Confidence boost.
So if you were born with straight hair, would you get a perm?
no. Well, if I had straight hair, I think I'd be so miserable.
Oh,
You'd hate it.
Yeah.
And right now that you mentioned your high school nickname, I just remembered I had forgotten what name you had started wrestling with. You want to let the ladies know your name?
My first wrestling name was Curlos.
Instead of Carlos, it was
that.
Curlos.
It was.
was a slogan "Curls for the girls."
It should have been.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
But it was so like just silly of a name, but it worked out really well because I thought of it and I was like, oh, like I won't have it for so long, and then it caught on and I was like, it wasn't the best idea, but
Wasn't the best run, but I mean, dude, but that was your start, so you
Yeah.
could always look back with fond memories.
Yeah.
We teamed up as Bandana Joe and Carlos Franco.
Yes.
That's such a great name.
Yeah. Carlos
Carlos.
and I teamed up at Cine El Rey for TWL. We came out to Wiggy Wiggy by SPM. So it starts off all badass, and then I come out and I get on one knee on the stage and I do my pose, and as I have my arms outstretched, out comes Carlos and bumps into me, and I go forward, right, because I didn't want to fall off the stage. I start like moving my arms, I wave them, then I stop, I look back. Carlos is like, I'm sorry. He just moves to the side and does his pose.
because I was so like, that was a really like incredible experience for me because I think I was just like, as a fan and as like a performer, seeing like from you, like I guess like firsthand how you do things, and being there, it was like experiencing it at the same time. And I was like, oh yeah, he does this. And I was like, what do I do like in all this?
You had to think. You had to think like, okay, he does this instead of just walking out straight to the ring.
Yeah. There was a point where it was so funny. Like you would see me like come out of there, not do a pose or anything, just look up and start walking down the stairs.
But looking down to watching his step.
Wait,
every
but this
step
wasn't
down.
deliberate.
No, it was like I would look up and I would see like people and lights, and I was like, no, like I'm just gonna walk.
just walking with his hands at his side.
There's this one funny experience I remember where when I finally had the confidence to like do a pose. I was like, I'm gonna do a pose. It was just both my hands up. I had the confidence to do it. I'm like pumping myself up. The music's playing. As soon as I go out there, there's this one guy who was like a regular, but he's known to heckle. He was like, "Who the fuck is this?" My hands, when they're about to go up, just immediately, like, I just went, no, like, there's no point.
Back down.
That would
got
wreck
to
me
you.
if someone
Damn.
said that.
Because I was like, I can't look cool. And he was like, who the fuck is this?
Was that there at Cena, or
Yeah.
where was that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the moment of truth. Who's been your best trainer?
Oh,
just kidding.
no.
I'm just kidding. I'm
Man.
just kidding.
Since you're in front of me, I would say Alvaro. I would also, I'm just going to say everyone. Danny Chance, pretty all right. Danny Ramone's pretty all right. Chris Austin, pretty all right. JC, I think I just learned from everyone around me. Pete Payne. So
Whoever's in front of you.
Yeah.
No, you. A lot of people. There's a lot of other people's fingerprints on you. Well, I won't say where. I won't say where.
I was wondering, like, could you ever not have your own thumbprints? Like, does that change who you are completely?
Wait, what? How?
Well, like if you go to jail and stuff, and they have your records, and then like you burn off your fingerprints, like you're someone else completely now.
You're not someone else. You're just not yourself.
Then if you're not yourself, wouldn't you be someone else?
No, because you can. This is getting like philosophical.
And then people are going to say, who the hell is that guy?
That
I didn't
you heard that?
recognize you
Wait.
without your thumbprint.
I've heard of people. I've heard of people who like there's like a burn, right, and then you just lose your fingerprints.
Yeah, you burn them.
I saw it in a scientific movie, a sci-fi
That's
movie.
sad.
Well, I know people would, like, just avoid, like, going to the war. They would, like, burn all their, like, birth certificates and everything. And I was like, that's so badass.
It sounds like a dream though to like just be off the grid completely.
Yeah, but how do you eat?
What?
Your mouth.
Yeah, but like, how do you?
You're so
How do you
human.
work? How do you?
I mean, back then
You
Like
forage.
now, it's harder to pull off, but back
Listen.
then,
You forage and you hunt.
like it takes a while
What's your
for people
real
to catch
name?
on.
Are you who you say you are? This sounds too easy for you. Let me see your thumbs.
I think that it resorts you back to being a Neanderthal. They'll just be like, that's not even a person. That's like a animal.
An ape?
Yeah.
Oh, Bigfoot.
Humans are the only ones that pay attention to all that stuff. Like humans are the only ones that use currency, that pay attention to time, that write down how many people exist and all that. Like it's all the humans.
It's all
all
not
about money.
necessary.
It's about money.
So for the real takeaway from this podcast, we're all just going to do the bizarre thing of burning our thumbprints.
We were doing so well.
I had to step away to turn on the iron. We're about
At
to.
the end of this, it's all coming on.
So if you see me on the streets and don't recognize me, ya saben por qué. So looking back at your training, there's been a lot of evolution since the beginning to where you are now. Anything memorable that you want to share?
I think I always figure myself to be like a student of the game, even if people say I'm not like a trainee, is that I'm still like a student. You have new people learning, and then you see people where it's like a lot of it for them is probably just trying to like rekindle that flame for them. And like being in those moments, like you could feel it in training where it's like a lot of it physically is very demanding for us and emotionally too. But for people to be there and go like, this is worth it, I think that's always incredible to see.
That's nice, man. I have a strange question. What has been the most latest thing that you've gone down the rabbit hole with?
I don't know. I don't get lost in a lot of things. I haven't gone down a rabbit hole in like a while. I think maybe like paranormal stuff. I have like weird moments like here and there where it's like, I'm just going to see like all these things, and I'm like, are they real? I don't know.
Have you experienced anything?
No, well, like I think it's there, like for sure, but I think psychologically it's like that's where it gets you. I was told once fear is just like false evidence appearing real, so I think you just kind of like make up that these things are kind of more, I guess, there than it is. Because I mean, like sometimes I just think like if ghosts are real, they're just doing whatever, like not bothering me.
Right?
Yeah.
If 99% of the time they're silent,
Yeah.
they're doing other stuff.
They're busy.
When you hear these stories from older people, they're just like very like numb to it. It's like, oh yeah, this door just broke down on its own. It's
Do we think that the older folks le echan crema? Like, they sauce up the story a little more, and that's why
Yeah.
they're like very like nonchalant about it.
no, I feel like I've been lied to a lot as a kid. I think it was like one of those like weird things like in the families where it's like, let's try to like scar the kids just so like they don't like, they're not out on the streets. They'll just say like, this random house, someone died in there. And it was a kid. And at night you see them. I was like, yeah, I'm not walking down that street.
Yeah.
Every time they tell the story, they add another line to it.
Yeah.
Another detail.
When you said that your whole life you've been lied to, I was imagining your parents curling your hair while you slept because it's really straight. So every night as you sleep,
Oh
they're
my
curling
God.
your hair.
How does your mind even come up with that?
It didn't. I saw it.
They don't take him to salon and give him a perm every once in a while.
It's
Or
what
do
he
they curl it nightly?
I feel, you as a parent, it's very like, it's so weird what you come up with.
I would do it.
I love that Alvaro's becoming more unhinged on
Yes,
the podcast.
yes.
And I've seen some shit. And ghosts.
So stupid. There's a fart button that you want.
I just won't tell you where to press.
Are you thinking about the I've got a feeling?
Oh. So yesterday when I was driving home, I called Alvaro. At one point I said I was driving home and he's like, I had a feeling, but I won't tell you where. So then the kids come out of the room. What are you doing?
You're the worst.
They heard it.
I was
But
like,
what's dumb is that it was just like I had a feeling you would call, right? Like it was. It
I was
had
like, where are
nothing to
you?
do
She's like,
with-
I'm heading home. Oh, I had a feeling. I didn't say where I got it. And I won't say.
That's him flirting.
You're
Yeah,
so
my wife used to hate it. Now she like has learned to like it.
It's an acquired taste.
Alvaro's an acquired taste.
I am. Definitely am. But Mooncat, let's talk about the name. I'm surprised we haven't touched on that yet. Like, where did the name come from? Like, how did that all come together?
So I think the simple answer would be, I saw this movie with Matthew McConaughey, and it wasn't Dazed and Confused, but it was The Beach Bum, where his character's name was Moondog, and that was more to me the kind of like character I saw myself at first than like Dazed and Confused. And there's already Moondogs in wrestling, so nothing about this was like an original idea. But I had like the moniker of Young Lion when I first started, so I just took that and then just put cat into it, and that was like the whole thing about it. But where it really like I guess like got personalized to me, I feel like I never said this story, like the actual story.
Oh, so is this an exclusive?
Yes, because I couldn't say it like PG. Why is how like we really like got the Mooncat character. I would always tell people like during the pandemic I went through like some sort of spiritual like hibernation or something. Like I went to a camp, you know, and then that was where Mooncat came, just to kind of like make sense of why I'm doing a whole different character. What I did was, because I'm very much like Mooncat as like an idea, so I thought wrestling wise, because wrestling doesn't have to be serious, but there's this weird thing of like, if I don't believe it, nobody's gonna believe it. and it's wrestling. So I was like, in my head, I was thinking, like, no one's going to believe, like, a 21-year-old was around in the 60s, 70s, which didn't have to be, right? But I tried to make it as authentic as I could for me to, like, really, like, make the best out of it. So what I did was I isolated myself. I locked myself in my room, didn't talk to anyone, took psychedelics, and I was like, I'm just not going to have any interaction with people, and just kind of like take in so much, because I only knew what anyone would know about the hippie culture. All I did was just listen to the Doors, and people are like, you're a hippie, but it was that like simple.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
Yeah, but I took like the extra, I guess, step that I didn't have to like make this person like a real, I guess, like thing for me and for people. Was like I took in so much like documentaries from back then, because when you see movies about like hippies, it's always like exploited and it's like a parody. But to see like actual like documentaries and see the way they actually talked, and I know one thing people told me at first, like why I wouldn't do like the generic like hippie voice, and I was like, Bobby Dylan didn't talk like that and Jim Morrison didn't talk like that, so I just couldn't do it myself, and took in so much music and movies and film that it was like it just kind of prepping myself for that like name 5 songs question.
Yes.
Where it was like, oh, like you're a hippie character, like what do you know about this, that, and then like actually having one thing I did at bars before I became Mooncat was I would go out to bars, and like this also helped me with a lot of anxiety. Was like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just be this like Mooncat character, and I would talk to people like with this, I guess, like how Mooncat is. And I thought, if older people, if these old heads go like, hey, you remind me of me when I was younger, I was like, then this is gonna work. Because the whole hippie thing was more so kind of like my idea, because it was originally just being like a stoner, like shaggy kind of thing. But with no offense to people, it was like you see a lot of images of like hardcore, grungy, and like dark and like edgy, that it was like, this is gonna be completely different and it's gonna stand out. It was Chance and Austin that talked to me really about it, that, and historically there's not a lot of hippie characters, so the idea for it to be like a 60s 70s aesthetic was like on me, because I was like, I think that really opposes everything else people see, because I wanted that like flamboyant, colorful image. So that was like everything about Mooncat was just like, how real can it be and how different could it be?
It seems like it fits you like a glove.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's right up your alley.
I think that's what's nice about it, is that, like you said, you don't play it as a character. Like, you almost don't see it as a character where it's like not someone playing a hippie. It just is a hippie.
I was thinking about this actually, about like that kind of stuff, where it's like with wrestlers, it's this weird like imposter syndrome that it's like we kind of like become these things, where it's like it's hard to kind of separate everything, and that's when it gets overwhelming, because it's a lot just mentally to kind of be this and become it, because it's you in a way, and then there's like you deep down.
So you feel like you have to draw the line?
Yeah, because it gets blurred like often for like a lot of us. And I feel like I remember there was a point where I was like, I never heard like my actual name for like a year, and when someone called me my like actual name, I was like, I didn't respond to it, and I was like, oh wow, like that's new to me. Like people aren't always seeing me as like this or that. Like I'm still Javi to like a lot of people, and I was like, wow, I must have been a dick all this time.
No, honestly, because we see you and the first thing that we think is Mooncat. It's stuck on you now.
Yeah.
And I haven't called you Javi in a long, long time. And just today it came out. It came out naturally. But I hadn't been around you in a private setting like this in a long time either. And pues the girls had never heard me call you that. I've never referred to you as that, and I don't think they've heard anybody call you by your shoot name
How do
before.
y'all feel about that? About your name versus your wrestler name outside of a show or the ring?
I feel like I'm not like there's no like reservations for it. It's just like for me, not a lot of people actually know it. Social media, I tried to like put it out there so people aren't just seeing like it's Mooncat Javier. So I think a lot more people know now. So I'm not really like there's no reservations of like people close to me say it, because I think like you said, like it just became like this thing where it's like I'm just Mooncat.
You know, and I think for us, the wrestlers, and I'll throw my name in there too, it's not weird for some reason. Like, you think about it and it's like, oh, somebody calling me by a different name. It sounds like it might be weird, but no, as a wrestler, you want to be this character. You want to be known as this other name. So for me, people would call me Joe. To this day, still call me Joe. Yeah. I react less to it now because now I'm using my shoot name a lot more for work and whatnot. But just, I mean, there's people within AEW that knew me from wrestling who still call me Joe, who I tell them my real name and they don't care for it. They just know me as Joe. So yeah, I think for the wrestlers, it just becomes part of them.
So there's like no, I guess just speaking for yourselves, is there a preference?
I would tell people just to be funny, like if dudes were being like I guess like pissy at me, calling me like kitty as like an insult, and I would make this joke that only women could call me that.
I like that.
Do you see? Have you seen an evolution of Mooncat, like from when you first started to now?
Yes, I think it's a lot more. It's getting a little bit more, I guess, like freedom to me than it was before. It was very difficult trying to like navigate this character, especially for doing like, and I told people like if you ask a kid what a hippie is, more than likely they don't have an answer. If you ask an adult, you get a very detailed answer. So there's a lot of like, are we gonna be, I guess, like mature about this, or is it gonna be more family oriented? Are we gonna make the innuendos? So it was very like here and there that we would make the innuendos, because of course there's kids, and also if there's any trouble, I'm not gonna deal with it. So
you know that question that you asked, like the name 3 bands or whatever.
Yeah.
Name me 3 hippie wrestlers.
Do Love, in a way, Mankind and Cactus Jack.
If you break it down, yeah, to the nuance of what a hippie is, I was thinking more along the lines of Buzzkill, who was
I remember.
Buzzkill was in
That's
WCW.
Buzzkill.
He was a ripoff of the Road Dogg, who was actually his brother. Buzzkill, superstar Billy Graham was somewhat
Billy
of a
Graham,
hippie.
yeah.
And
Well, he had tie-dye.
Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are the stereotypical
Yes.
hippie. Like the ones that if somebody thinks of a hippie, it's probably going to be that. Not thinking of Jim Morrison, not thinking of the other gentleman.
Well, for me, like, there is, like, Adrian Street, which, like,
Yeah.
not a lot of people know of, that his work, and especially, like, that kind of, like, old school, like, wrestling was very interesting for me to see, and that's where a lot of, like, the flamboyancy, like, came out, like, to me of, like, this is, like, gonna be really cool to do. But no, like, I couldn't name you a lot of hippie characters.
Because there's not a lot
Yeah.
of them. So like what you're doing is already different enough, and
Yeah.
and the fact that you come in with a certain look, like a certain appeal, like you've got that to your favor. Have your goals changed from when you first started wrestling to where you are now? Like,
I think, and I'll tell people, like, selfishly, when I, like, started doing this, it was completely for myself, because it was to kind of live out my purpose and kind of go, like, this is what I see myself doing, what I believe spiritually or religiously what I'm here to do. And then it got to a point where it was like, you see a lot of the experience for these children that go there, and it's like that full circle thing where it was like, this is what I enjoyed at their age. They're doing the same things I did growing up. And to kind of like, I guess, be in that position and have that like responsibility, which I never thought I would have, of like being, I guess, liked by people. Like once you like, I remember like seeing that kind of like glow in their eye, and I was like, that reminds me of myself. And it also just goes like to show like the bigger picture is people love pro wrestling. So I think once I started accepting that, it was like, I'm not wrestling for myself anymore. So I think even though I've only been in this for like 5 years, so who's to say like I know anything, but I just know that everything I want to do has to be for that joy and for the bigger picture, which I didn't think for me was going to be, I guess, possible, because I didn't think any of this was going to work. And not being like the conventional, like, I guess, baby face or superhero, and as a person just kind of always being on that, like, you know, this is a degenerate, you know. It was like cool to see like kids being able to believe in something, because Superman doesn't always have to be like, Eddie Guerrero was one of them too, where it was like he was known to have his like demons, his struggles. In a real life sense, people could like feel for that more than just like Superman doesn't get hurt by anything, like the traditional things.
I think that's the beauty of the old school wrestling that you mentioned, studying and whatnot. I think the beauty behind it is the ability to captivate people's imaginations with that style. If you look at it, a lot of the stuff looks a little hokey, but if you can convince the children that what you're doing is legitimate, honestly, then you've already won, because these kids are going to eventually grow up, and they're always going to have those fond memories of what they saw. And yeah, I've seen that glimmer in their eyes, and it reminds me of my childhood, and I'm sure a lot of these wrestlers, they do it for the same reason, because they were once that little boy or that little girl that was looking up at the ring at these figures larger than life who are just as normal as them, you know. So that's nice, man.
Well, it must be a nice feeling, like if you're like down, you know, the other guy's beating you, and you have the kids telling you like get up, or like, you know,
Yeah.
chanting your name. Like that must feel nice.
It's great, and I guess that's a good way to veer off into the toast. Nice little chat with Mooncat today, and this toast is yours to make, my friend. To anyone, everyone, no one.
I got a good line for this. To my wife. To my wife and all my sweethearts. May they never meet.
Cheers.
Salud.
Toast to that,
That was
brother.
wonderful.
The accomplishment you're most proud of in your wrestling career?
The accomplishment I'm most proud of, I would say winning the South Texas Championship title, which I know people are probably going to be mad I'm saying, but first singles title I won. I had a lot of support from people for that. It was very trusting in me and what I could be potentially as like a performer, as a worker. It kind of set things straight for me, for people to see as a fan that this is worthwhile, and as a worker, like that I do apply myself and I do work as hard as anyone could work, and I do what I can for my opportunities. So I think winning the South Texas Championship title reminded me and of everything that I've worked for and everything that I'm willing to work for, so I could still be, as I am, South Texas champion to this day.
Now, you mentioned some people might be mad. I won't ask who, but I will ask why. Why would anybody be mad?
People could have their feelings towards me of like maybe he doesn't deserve it, or when people think that it's because I deserve it. And it's like I've been consistent for like 5 years at this point, working with like no time off, really just like putting myself into this. So I feel like I earned it. And it's one of those things. I saw a tweet from who is he, Shane Helms, where they talk about his upset over The Rock.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I wasn't upset, because it's competitive and it's just like old school, I guess, like mentality that I don't think it's bad, like if you're not being like an asshole, right? But it's like you want your spot. What are you going to do to keep that spot? People want your spot. And it's like I just always stayed present and I always just applied myself. So it's not like to offend anyone, but I think it just offends people when it's like I'm just here to do my job, and as genuine as I could be, I want more people to have that same mentality of like you're not here to make friends, here to make money. But I'm very like nice. It's just I think at some point you get so lost in everything and in like everything that goes on. It's like I'm just gonna say it, like if you want my spot you have to like earn it, or if I want to be like, I guess problem like behavior wise, like this could just not be mine. I could lose my title and I could have like the consequences, so it's like I'm just gonna do right, be as good as I can about it, and that's pretty much it.
I think there's a misconception from the character of Mooncat being so laid back, being so easygoing and so cool about everything, that people might think that that's who you really are when it comes to training or preparation, when the reality, that's not what it is. I've seen you bust your ass. I've seen you go to trainings. I've seen you be present. I've seen you be there. And that's more than a lot of people can say.
How long have you had that neck tattoo?
How long have you had that neck? Yeah, that's it. Thank you for being on my show.